If you're not interested in the West Virginia, it might get a little interesting. We're going to be talking about some of our sexual ordinances, but you're welcome to stick around. But if you'd like to leave now, that'd be just fine too. This is for adults only.
But it's still an open meeting.
Should we hold off till?
All right, we're going to move on. Unfinished business, Bill 23-40, an ordinance of the City of Osage Beach, Missouri, amending Chapter 210 offenses, Article 9 sexual offenses, Section 210.1500 definitions, adding new Section 210.1570 regulating sexually oriented business, removing Sections 210.1870 regulating erotic dance establishments, erotic dance restrictions, licensings, and records. This is the second reading. Cole Bradbury.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. I have nothing further to add on this ordinance. We discussed it at length last time.
Any additional comments or questions from the board?
I have a couple questions,
Alderman
Cole, if you don't
Hoffman.
mind.
Absolutely.
Back on, was this page 80 of 2341? In here it says the performance of acts of simulated acts or simulated acts of sexual intercourse. That could be construed as someone at dog days just dancing on somebody. What? I don't see the need for the simulated acts part.
So the backstory on this drafting in particular is, while doing some research, I went and looked in what the state has. This is a verbatim copy and paste from the state, or the state. It's actually a regulation for liquor licenses. And so rather than try to reinvent the wheel and do it our own way and therefore add a second layer, you have the state rules and then you also have to follow the city rules. I just copied the state rules so that we are consistent with the state. But this is something that is, I agree, I was going to word it differently and try to parse that out a little bit more. But rather than try to create some different set of regulations, the unintended consequences, liquor licensees already have to do this anyways, comply with this anyways, because their state liquor license depends on it.
I know I'm probably nitpicking a little bit, but the state doesn't have 6 pool bars at the lake, where people are drinking and having fun. So I just want to make sure that we all see simulated acts in here and hope that it's construed the right way for us.
I don't think this is, well, I've only been city attorney since February, but nobody's ever brought a simulated acts complaint about a liquor license to my knowledge. Chief can chime in if he's aware of any.
Not that I'm aware of.
So I don't foresee this being a major issue, but really, if it's going to be in the state law, we might as well just copy theirs and go no further. I mean, with this and several of the following ordinances, ultimately we are reducing the amount of regulation and red tape on our city businesses because they're just going to have to follow one set of rules, which is we have both ours and the state's, but they will be the same, so there won't be 2 different layers.
Okay, I just wanted to point it out. I understand your position on it.
All right. Any other comments or questions from the board? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve second reading?
So moved.
Alderman Morose, do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Rucker, roll call, please.
Alderman Hoffman.
Yes.
Alderman Rucker.
Yes.
Alderman Ross.
Yes.
Alderman Morose.
Yes.
Alderman Osteen. Alderman Schumer.
All right, second reading passes. Next few are very similar. This is Bill 23-41, an ordinance of the City of Osage Beach, Missouri, amending Chapter 600, alcoholic beverage, Section 600.050, exposure to private parts of body or simulation thereof in commercial establishments licensed by chapter where intoxicating liquor is served or consumed of the city code for various purposes as set forth. Second reading, City Attorney.
I won't repeat myself, but same as last time.
Comments or questions?
Happy to answer.
Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve second reading? Alderman Rucker. Do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Ross. Roll call, please.
Alderman Schumer. Alderman Morose.
Yes.
Alderman Osteen. Alderman Ross.
Yes.
Alderman Rucker.
Yes.
Alderman Hoffman.
Yes.
All right, second reading passes. Next, we have Bill 23-42, An ordinance to the City of Osage Beach, Missouri, amending Chapter 405 zoning regulations, Section 405.020 definitions, and Section 405.590 special uses require special permission of the city code for various purposes as set forth. This is the second reading. Comments or questions? Oh, I'm sorry. City Attorney. Anything new?
No, I just want to take a little bit of pride in this one. We are reducing the length of this ordinance by at least a page, and anytime we get to do that, I think that's a good thing.
All right. Comments or questions from the board? Alderman Hoffman.
On the zoning map, I don't, page 105 maybe, number 8, sexual-oriented businesses. This use may only be permitted in C1, I1, I2. Light industrial, is that?
That's a fairly common
It is?
practice. I mean, obviously, so that was written, 20 years ago, at least 30 years ago. But that's always been a common feature of regulation of.
If you go to urban settings, a lot of times when you find those places, they are in the industrial areas.
Okay.
It's the, industrial is not just industrial, but it's also the most intense use area within the community. Okay, so the feeling is if you're in the middle of an industrial area, you're not very close to residential.
Residential, okay.
Yeah.
And you're keeping them out of the shopping center and things like that.
Sure, I just
Yep.
wasn't sure if it was industrial, so.
A lot of these, and
Okay.
we can debate whether it's appropriate, but there's quite a bit of case law and other stuff that's developed around these, but there is for better or worse, a mentality, and the state statute does it too, of really kind of shoving these uses into high intensity use.
Separating them.
Yeah, separating them from more sensitive uses like, Pruitt's Point and residential areas and things like that. So
Okay.
that's part of why that's there.
All right, I only have one other question. Number 3, next page over. All access to and from adult entertainment establishments shall be provided from a street classified as an arterial street. I Googled this. I didn't know what it was. What is that for us?
Everything that's a state highway. 54, KK, 42. So it keeps
Parkway.
us off of the collector status streets and then the locals. Collectors being basically the old lake roads. And then locals obviously being the smaller roads that go back into, the residential areas. So the function of it is those uses can only be located on 42 KK, Osage Beach Parkway, and of course the highway, but there's no access to the highway.
Right.
So those would be the roads.
So the only place,
The only place.
42
And
KK?
that's current within our code now too. So,
Okay,
and also typical.
right. Thank you for clarifying. I'd never seen that word before.
We actually have a classification system, and so those would be the roads that are classified as arterial.
That's all I had. Thanks.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve second reading? Alderman Ross. Do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Morose. Roll call, please.
Alderman Ross.
Yes.
Alderman Morose. Alderman Ross.
Yes.
Alderman Osteen. Alderman Schuman. Alderman Hoffman.
Yes.
Alderman Rucker.
Yes.
All right, second reading passes.
Done until marijuana.
Last part of unfinished business doesn't have to do with you.
Finally.
All right, Bill 23-43, an ordinance of the City of Osage Beach, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to sign a 5-year agreement with OpenGov for the installation and